All right, today we're cracking open a totally different kind of AI toolbox. We're not just talking about the big cloud services everyone uses. We're diving into the powerful open source models that you can actually run, tweak, and totally control yourself. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's start with a kind of a mind-bending idea. When you think AI, what comes to mind? Probably, some massive computer owned by a huge company humming away in a data center somewhere, right? But what if that's only half the picture?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, forget just opening a browser to chat with an AI. Picture this. A super powerful large language model living right on your own computer, one that you've customized for exactly what you need, and it works completely offline. That's the whole promise of open source AI. And you know what? It's way more accessible than you probably think.
So the big question is, how is this even possible, right? Well, the key is a concept that's basically been the backbone of the internet for decades: open source. But what exactly does open source mean when we're talking about something as complex as AI?
The best way to think about it is like a recipe book. In the closed source world, it's like buying a cake from a fancy bakery. It's delicious, but you have no idea how they made it. The recipe is a secret. But in the open source world, the baker hands you the entire recipe book. You can see every single ingredient. You can decide to use less sugar, maybe add some cinnamon. You can even create a completely new flavor. That is the power of open source AI. It's all about total transparency and the freedom to make it your own. And believe me, the world of open source AI is absolutely booming. I mean, new recipes are popping up constantly. But there are a few heavy hitters, a few key players that have really set the standard. So let's meet four of the most influential models you can actually get your hands on right now. First up, we have Llama. Now, if these AIs were people in a classroom, Llama would be that brilliant, well-traveled student. You know the one, super smart, always curious, and can chat with you in a whole bunch of different languages. So Llama comes to us from Meta, and it really is a powerhouse. It's famous for its multilingual skills, for sure. But its real secret weapon, it has deep, deep roots in the research community. And what that means is, it's not just some static tool that gets released once. No, it's constantly being poked, prodded, and improved by developers all over the world. That's what keeps it right on the cutting edge. Okay, next on our list is Mistral. Now, think of this one as the nimble, super efficient coder in the group. Mistral isn't trying to be the biggest model out there. Its whole game is about being incredibly fast, really smart, and super resourceful. The reason people love Mistral is that it delivers just incredible performance without needing a monster supercomputer to run it. It's especially good at writing and understanding code. Plus, it comes in a bunch of different sizes, which means you can run a version of it on pretty much anything, from a regular laptop all the way up to a beefy server. All right, our third model is DeepSeek. Let's think of this one as a specialized toolkit. Like instead of a general-purpose hammer, this is a set of precision instruments. It's built with this really clever and efficient design that makes it stand out from the crowd.
Okay, so here's where things get really cool from a technical standpoint. DeepSeek uses something called a mixture of experts design, or MOE for short. Now, instead of one single giant brain trying to know everything, MOE is more like having a team of specialists. When a question comes in, the system figures out which expert is best for the job and only wakes that one up. This makes it insanely efficient. And that's a big reason why DeepSeek has gotten so popular, particularly in Asia, for handling very specific, very complex jobs. And last but not least, we've got DBRX. So if DeepSeek is our specialized toolkit, you can think of DBRX as the master of logical reasoning. This is the real problem solver of the bunch. Just like DeepSeek, DBRX uses that super efficient mixture of experts architecture. But its real claim to fame, what it's known for, is its incredible ability to handle complex reasoning. It's just fantastic at thinking through problems that have multiple steps. And on top of that, it's an absolute beast when it comes to coding challenges. Okay, so let's just pull this all together for a second. How do you choose? Well, if you need a really versatile, research-backed model that's great with different languages, Llama is probably your best bet. If you're all about speed and coding, especially if you don't have a super powerful computer, Mistral is a fantastic choice. But if your work involves chewing through really complex problems, that specialized mixture of experts design in both DeepSeek and DBRX gives them a serious edge in both efficiency and pure reasoning power. So having your own personal AI recipe book, It sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? And it is. But with all that freedom comes a whole different set of challenges and responsibilities that you just don't have when you're using a closed commercial service.
Let's just break it down. Pros and cons. On the plus side, the advantages are massive. It can be way cheaper, it's totally private because nothing ever leaves your machine, and you can customize it to your heart's content. But the challenges, they're just as real. You're the one who has to do the technical setup. You might need some pretty beefy hardware, and, this is the big one, these models often have fewer of the built-in safety guardrails that you'd find in a commercial product.
And honestly, this is probably the most important thing to remember. When you're the one in control, you're also the one who's responsible for making sure you use this tool ethically and safely. The power is literally in your hands, but so is the responsibility. Okay, so after hearing all of that, especially the part about responsibility, you might be thinking, wow, this sounds fascinating, but also maybe a little intimidating. And that's fair. But don't worry, the community around this stuff has built some really fantastic ways for beginners to get started without getting overwhelmed. And the best part is, you really don't have to be some kind of systems genius to get your feet wet. A great first step? Just go play with some online demos. Get a feel for what these different models can do. After that, you've got to check out a hub like Hugging Face. Seriously, it's basically the grand central station for the AI community. It's just a massive library of models, data, and tools. And finally, you can even experiment on cloud platforms that do all the heavy lifting for you, so you can just focus on the fun part, building cool stuff. So there you have it. That's the open source AI toolkit. It's this incredible set of recipes that's out there for anyone to use. And honestly, the barrier to getting started has never been lower. The tools are powerful, they're open, and they're in your hands now. So the only real question left is, what are you going to create?